So I actually already filmed this video, but then I saw that my screen didn't record anything, so that's great. I'm going to do it all again. Hello guys, today I'm going to share with you what's on my iPhone. I haven't done this video for a while, so it'd be fun to share what's on here and also share some of my favorite apps that I recommend. So yeah, let's get started. I've got the iPhone 7 and with the case from Eos Sweden. I absolutely love this case. I'm going to put my screen recorder on now. I hope it's going to record because it just didn't record, which is very annoying. I filmed a 20 minutes video without recording anything. It's great. So this is what my home screen looks like. A really nice photo I took with my drone when I was at Bondi Beach. So this is the first screen. So I've got photos here. These are most of like my standard apps. So photos, notes. I kind of like to use that for just some short to-do list or grocery shopping list. App Store, phone, Weather Pro. I prefer Weather Pro over the regular Apple weather app because it's more accurate, I think, than Alarm, which is very handy. If you live here in the Netherlands, you can see when it's going to rain. Yeah, and since it rains quite a lot, it's always very handy, so you can be prepared. Then FaceTime, contacts, mail. I use this one, the Apple Mail. I use that one for my personal mail. Then calendar. I don't really use the standard calendar app. I prefer the Google Calendar app. Then reminders, I use that a lot to just set reminders. I think it's always very handy because I often forget things. So I like to set reminders. Then Gmail, so that's for my business email, for my YouTube channel and Instagram stuff. Then find friends, and this is very useful. I share my location with my parents and my brothers so they can like see where I am, which is often quite handy, not always, but yeah, it's just quite useful. That and then messages, nu.nl, so I can read the some recent news, and then calculator, clock, camera, and then I've got Pillow. So Pillow is a very handy app if you want to track your sleep and you want to see some like daily reports, like how you slept, and so you can set an alarm. So for example, if I would go to bed now and I would wake up at 8:11, I would sleep 20 hours. So you can check on that, and then you can see reports. I haven't really used this app for a while. The last time was in October, but then you can exactly see how much time you were in bed, how much time you were asleep. So it kind of tracks when you were awake and when you were in deep sleep and all this kind of stuff. So that's quite fun to see, and it's also really handy. Then there is settings, and then I've got the others folder, but I don't really use all these apps, so this is just a bunch of random, mostly like standard apps which I put in here. Then the next screen, let's first look at the apps which I put here in the bottom. Of course WhatsApp, which I use for messaging, Safari, and then Moment, which is a very handy app which I want to share with you guys. So this app is very useful. I discovered recently it's been one of my favorite apps. So basically what it does, it's like it tracks how much time you spend on your phone every day, which is really handy, but it also makes you think how bad it actually is. For example, here on Friday, March 16, I spent 7.5 hours on my phone, which is a lot. It really is a lot. So yeah, it really makes you think about that you just should spend less time on your phone, like how much time you're actually wasting on this thing. But yeah, this app is just very handy. It exactly shows you how much time you spend on which app and when, so you can see when I was on my phone, what time, and for how long. And they're often just very short periods of times, only sometimes like 4 minutes, 11 minutes, but when you just sum that all up, it just is a lot. You can see the insides, the day, also of the week, very handy. You can see the screen time, you can see the average of every day, and then the waking life, so how much time you were awake, and then how much time you spend of your waking, of the time you were awake on your phone. So it now says that I would spend 13.7 years on my phone during my entire life. So yeah, that's really great. So I kind of, as you can see, I spent quite a lot of time on my phone, so I hope that I can make it to like a maximum of 3 hours a day. I hope that's already quite a lot, but yeah, something new that we need to work on. And then on this folder, Google Documents. I use Google Documents a lot. not only just for school things, which is very handy, but I also use it for my planner, which I really like. So I always like to make to-do lists every day, and I like to plan out what I need to do which day, and it's just very handy because you can access Google Documents anywhere. You can just access it on your computer, then here on your phone, and then I just like to, especially when I've got when I'm very busy with school, I just like to write everything down that I need to do that day. So that's Google Documents. Then Google Calendar, I use that as my calendar, as my diary, and I just put all my appointments in there, and also the homework which I need to do for all my classes. And then let's go to the folders, which here on the screen. So here top left, I've got my finance folder. So these are not really interesting things. These are just for banking, PayPal, we've got AdSense, Tiki is very handy. I'm not sure whether you can use it outside of the Netherlands, but it's basically you use it for when you've, for example, borrowed money from someone else, you can easily pay them back, and they can also pay you back. Cards is very handy. You can put your cards in here, so instead of having to bring your wallet with all of your cards with you, you can just put those cards in this app. It's quite similar to Apple Wallet actually. Then this folder is for editing stuff, so I've got a bunch of editing apps on here. So I'm going through all these apps. So let's start with Snapseed first. Snapseed is very handy for if you want to have some good editing. Okay, let's just take a really nice picture of some avocado toast. So you've got some filter options which I don't really use, but I like the tools. I like to play with some curves. You can really adjust the photos with exposure and just make it look better. And which it also has a really nice feature with brush that you can, on certain places of the photo, you can change the saturation. So in this photo, the tomatoes are very popping out of the photo. So for example, if you don't want that, you can turn down the saturation, and you can use your brush, and as you can see, the saturation, it becomes desaturated, so that's very handy with Snapseed. Then iMovie kind of speaks for itself. You can just create videos. Then VSCO, I love this app. Already talked a lot about this one, but you can just edit your photos in here. And how I edit my Instagram photos, that's for another video, but I just use this one to add a bunch of different filters and adjust the photos, and yeah, it's just my favorite editing app. Then this is also a very handy app if you care about your Instagram feed like I do. Yeah, it's quite stupid actually, but my Instagram is just kind of my art place. So you can exactly see what your feed looks like, and then you can rearrange photos and just see, oh, does this suit my feed or not? And yeah, that's just quite fun and handy. And then layout, you can create some collages, RNI films. I actually only use this app for one feature. Let's take again this photo. What I like to do with this app, I go to the tools and then to dust, and you can add this kind of dust effect. So you can see those white spots. So that is what I do with RNI films. Fitstitch is very handy if you want to create some collages with photos, but also with videos. I use this app sometimes for my Instagram stories if I want to put in a collage a video, but also like a thumbnail. So you can basically just combine some videos and photos in a collage, which is very nice. And then Easy Eraser, you can erase things from photos, but that's for another video. Then Movavi clips, that's to create videos as well, similar to iMovie. I've made a video about Movavi clips. So that's a tutorial on how you can edit videos on your phones. If you're interested, then go check out that video. Then I've also got Pay Collage. It's again for creating collages. And then Boomerang. So of course it's just Instagram Boomerang, but this is just but with this app you can kind of change some things about your boomerang which you can't do in Instagram story. So if you how does this work again with your fingers? I think 4 fingers, and then you need to tap a couple of times on the screen. Yep. And then you can change the resolution of your boomerang, you can change the mode, forward, backward, change the number of frames. So that's the boomerang app. Onto the next folder, which is my documents folder. So these are also really interesting apps, basically to look at documents. You can put your files in all of these apps. I like to put my photos in OneDrive, Dropbox and MyCloud. And yeah, these are not really interesting apps, just for any kind of opening files, saving files. So they are really handy, but not quite boring. So let's go to the next folder, which is my photos and video folder. I've got 4 apps in here. So these are not for editing, but these are for recording stuff. So ProShot case, I've got a case where I can put my phone in, and then I can put my phone in the water, and then I need this app. I'm going to make a video about that as well later on. Then Camera Connect is super handy. I can connect my phone with my camera because it's got a Wi-Fi function. So I can use my phone as a remote controller for my camera, but I can also look at the photos I took with my camera, which is super handy. I can immediately save my photos of my camera to my phone, and then I can share them to social media, for example. Then the DJI Go 4 app is for my drone. I use my phone as a remote controller, so I can see what I film with my drone on my phone. So that's DJI Go 4. Then Time Hop, which is a fun app. If you don't know this app, basically what it does, you can connect it with your social media and also with your photos, and then it exactly shows what you, for example, shared on Instagram exactly 1 year ago, just the date from today, and then 10 years ago or 8 years ago, and so on. Really nice tweet. I don't want to go to school, that's what I tweeted exactly 1 year ago. But I also connected this with Dropbox, and I've got photos from like 13 years ago on there. And then for example, it shows a photo from today, but then exactly 13 years ago. And that's just really fun because it's all just great memories to look back on. So I like to use Time Hop every day. And then this folder is for school or education, some boring apps, Zermelo Lapda, Magister, my Rooster. Those are all for like my school, to check up on my schedule, and also look at my marks, and open some files for school. Then Duolingo, which is really fun and handy if you want to start to learn a language. I started learning Spanish on here, but I know I haven't really done it. So yeah, you're supposed to do this like 5 minutes of every day, which is not that long. And it's really fun and handy if you just want to start, if you want to learn a language. And then Focus Keeper. This is a very handy app if you have problems with focusing when studying. They say that you need to have to study for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break, and then again you study for 25 minutes. So you do 4 times sessions of 25 minutes with breaks of 5 minutes in between, and after that you take a break of 30 minutes. So that really helps you with staying focused. So I always like to use this during my exam week to study for all my tests. The next folder is for shopping. I used to have a ton of different shopping apps on here, but I don't really use didn't really use them. I prefer shopping on my computer, so I deleted most of this app. But I just have a few shopping apps in here. AliExpress, United Wardrobe, if you want to buy my clothes, so you can follow me on United Wardrobe. I believe my username is littleworldofeline. As you can see, I'm selling some of my clothes on here, and you can also buy secondhand clothing from other people. And yeah, this is just a very fun and handy app if you want to thrift some things. And then H&M. I use it actually just to show my H&M card when I'm in store, and Hema, I also use it to just share my Hema card. Then I've got the next folder, which is for sports and my hockey team, so I can just see my hockey schedule, when I need to play and where. And then Runkeeper, which is really fun. You can track when you're doing any kind of sport activity, when you're going running. It will just it will track how much time you ran and how far, so that's really fun. Then the next folder is for traveling. I've got booking.com and Airbnb, and I basically use those apps to find holiday homes, and I always like to do that. Then this is my social media folder, so I've got all kinds of different social media apps: Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Twitter. Don't really use Twitter anymore. Then Instagram, go follow me on here if you're interested. Username is littleworldofeline. Yeah, that's my Instagram. Then Pinterest, I always like to go on Pinterest for any kind of inspiration. It's super handy. It could be, you can use it for anything. You can find inspiration for photos, recipes, travel guides. So I really like Pinterest. And YouTube, of course, Snapchat, YouTube Studio, very handy. If you've got a YouTube channel, you can see some statistics. You can easily reply to comments. So that's for if you have a YouTube channel. Then We Hearted. I also like to go on here to look for some inspiration. They always just have a ton of different pretty pictures, and so I like to heart them and create some collections. And then if I want to look for some fashion inspiration, then I go to my fashion collection, and then I just go through all these pictures and just look at them. It's just really nice. I actually got a ton of followers on here. I didn't even know how. I've got 112,000 followers, which is a lot. So yeah, I didn't know how that happened. What else is in here? Telegram, messaging app. Followers, very handy for Instagram if you want to see how your followers are doing, like the tracking stuff, and if people unfollowed you. Then live count, which is a live subscriber count. This is my folder, just my utilities folder. I've got Google Maps in here. I always need to use that to go somewhere. And then Google Translate, also like that. And then a Reisplanner, which is for the train. A Flow, this is a very handy app for all the girls out there. Basically, you can use this to see when your period starts, and it also has a bunch of different like tips. So my period starts in 2 days. Really nice, a TMI, but yeah, it's just very handy. I really like to use this app. And then VPN proxy, not really interesting. DigiDay, WordPress, which is for my blog. I haven't really posted anything on my blog lately, but if I finish like exams, then hopefully I can finally do something with that again. 9292, which is for public transportation. And then battery life, you can check up on your battery of your phone how it is. So my battery is an average, so you can see how your battery is, which is quite handy if you maybe need to repair your battery or anything. Then Epson iPrint is for connecting my phone to the printer. Then Google Home, I've got a Chromecast at home, so then I can connect my phone to the Chromecast. The last folder is for entertainment things, so I've got some games in here like Subway Surfers, Dumpways, Flappy Bird, Wordfeud, Bitmoji for Snapchat, and Netflix. I don't actually watch a lot of Netflix. And then Spotify, I use it for music. Of course, RTL Excel for Dutch TV programs. You can look back on, you can just watch those back. Simpsons, a game, Sudoku, then choices an episode. You can basically do some story games, and then you've got like your own character in the story, which is quite fun. Then guessy words, which is like 30 seconds. Yeah, those are actually all of my apps on my phone. I hope that my screen recorded everything. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I see you next time in a new video. Bye!